After over 2,000 one-on-one coaching calls in the last year with some of the elite performers in our real estate industry on my client list, and I'm asked all the time by people what makes them different and how do they continue to grow. So I'm going to share that with you today, and a couple of different things that I've observed. And a lot of times what happens is that we make it really complicated. So it's John Cheplak with you today on a little walk at home. Home is almost strange to me because I'm on the road. I think home is where I'm at. So anyways, and some of the folks that I'm referencing, just to give you a little bit of backfill, a real estate company that had 91 agents January 1st of 2018 and recruited 128 agents in 2018. And it's really easy to talk about big numbers, but anyone can bring in a lot of people, but it was a two-step process. I mean, where it was mutually agreed that, hey, we're a fit. Now you've got to go do another interview to be approved to be a part of this real estate company. Real estate teams that go from 500 transactions to 800 transactions in a year in a marketplace that's down 20%. A real estate team that did over 1,100 transactions this year. The list goes on and on. Now, the thing that's really important for you to know is that they did the work. I'm just the facilitator, and I'm real fortunate to ride along with them. And I always say we, because it's a collaborative effort as we go through it. But I want to unpack some things for you, because I think what can happen is when it comes down to growth, the first thing that I say to people that want to grow is that we're going to find out what we need to eliminate. Less is more. There's something I was taught a long time ago, and it's if you want to, increase the quality of the action and actually increase the action and increase the outcome, you've really got to slow down the process. And we've all heard you've got to learn to say no so you can say yes in other areas. I mean, less is truly more. So it's not some fancy magical stuff. I want to just really encourage you to be real cautious. I'm not the guru that knows it all. I've just hung around for 31 years. I was an agent that had a track record. I was a broker, manager that did quite well. Took an office from 1,000 transactions to 1,483 transactions in a market only up 13%. And that's not the I Am Wonderful story. I think it's really unfortunate that many of y'all are misled by a lot of theory. So with that said, I want to jump into it. The first thing that'll probably surprise you is none of them think they need more leads. And when I say none of them, the ones that actually grow, the ones that get stuck, are paralyzed, and what is an obstruction is they think they need more leads. That's a myth. They've got more leads they can handle. The fact of the matter is taking the appropriate, consistent action with the leads that you have. And today it's a bit more challenging than ever, because we've got to accommodate the expectation of today's internet distracted and internet empowered consumer. They have different forms in which each one of them wants to be communicated. You've got to accommodate that simple piece. You've got to look at speed of response, all those types of things. So number one, they don't think they need more leads. So sit with that one. I know it's an obstruction. Number two, they know that growth is not in transactions. Growth is not in transactions. They recognize that we're not in the real estate industry. When you want to scale something and grow something, it's not through the transaction. It's through the human beings that generate transactions. If you want to have a job, and no judgment, don't get me wrong, go from transaction to transaction. If you want to have a business, you're going to attract, you're going to develop, okay? And continue to acknowledge and support human beings to do transactions. See, a job is something that does not generate revenue when you're not there. A business is something that generates revenue regardless of where you're at. So they understand and recognize that growth is not in how can I get more transactions? How can I get more leads? How can I attract? And by the way, how can I get more productivity out of my people too? That's somewhat of a myth. I mean, do a little bit of a study on per person productivity and let me know how that number's really, really changed, okay? Not much. So what happens is you've got to bring in more people. That's it, bottom line. The dangerous thing that I hear all the time when people will inquire with me, whether it's a broker owner manager or a team leader, they fill out questionnaires and then we have the discovery conversation to see if it's a right fit, because I only take right now probably about 1 in 5 people that will apply because it's just not the right fit. Well, we only want 10. That's it. Really? That's a trap, because someone's going to leave you. So what are you going to do when someone leaves you? You're not going to wake up tomorrow and replace that production. Okay? It's kind of like the agent that says, I've got 10 listings, that's enough, so I should stop prospecting. Okay? So the key piece is the profit's in your people. The profit is in your people. The profit is not in the transaction. You keep chasing more leads, you keep chasing transactions, you'll be the one, that's on the outside looking in and maybe be a yeah butter, that's one of the other pieces I wasn't going to share, but I want to share with you is these elite performers, they don't say yeah, but. You know what they say? Wow, how? Without judgment. Without judgment. They don't say yeah, but. When they're seeing another high performer, they say wow, acknowledge the person, say how. So what's in wow, how? There's humility. And there is a lifelong learner in that. That's really, really important. Okay? So, look at those key pieces. I mean, just super critical when you're looking at growing a business. And me, I've got a driver's seat riding right along with these people. Okay? Here's the final one. When they're going to do something, they do it. It's never the right time. Let me say it again. This is probably the most important one. It's never the right time. Our onboarding isn't perfect. Our admin, not exactly how we want them to be. Okay? I worked out this morning. My arm got a little bit tired there. The onboarding isn't great. The ISAs, good grief, that ISA conversation, that one's hilarious. I mean, that thing goes on and on. It's never the right time. See, here's what I know, okay? What I know is this, is when you're committed is the right time. When you're committed is the right time. That's the key piece. So, 3 simple things. It's never the right time. Growth is not in the transaction. Growth is in people that generate transactions. You don't need more leads. You don't need more leads. I mean, I was talking to one of my teams that it's thousands of leads, thousands a month. I mean, it's an amazing operation. And they moved their conversion up 70% from 3% to 5% in 1 year. So do thousands of leads and then do the math on increasing your conversions by 70%. And I don't hang out with smoke blowers. These aren't BSers. Because they sit in a room and we interact at my upcoming mastermind, which is next Thursday and Friday. And, you don't get away with that type of stuff, with those type of folks. So, that right there proves that you don't need more leads. You need to continue to master your craft. One other thing that's missed, a few things I'll kind of expand besides the 3 major points that I wanted to make is, I'm sorry, but your to-do list inspires no one. There's an art and a science to getting human beings productive. You can't make a human being productive. Bearing down and bearing down and bearing down on people, they're not doing more. Let me tell you the number one way to motivate a human being. Keep bringing their replacement in. Apply pressure from the bottom. Companies and teams grow from the bottom up, not the top down. Companies and teams grow from the bottom up, not the top down. And what you need to look at is in that growth, because the other conversation came up with someone that just signed up for coaching yesterday and said, I'm coming to the mastermind after just, the first coaching call that he had with me was, gosh, how do we handle the fear that people have us bringing on more people, which makes them think, that, they're going to get less. And there's the lack mentality. It's a beauty because that one right there, I took them through, some culturization, some language. And the nice thing is that I can go at a granular level like that because I've been there. I've done it in multiple offices, in multiple cities. One day you'd be in San Francisco on Cathedral Hill. Next day you're in Berkeley. Next day you're in Tahoe. You're in Texas. You get to see the dynamic. People always say it's always different. Well, last time I checked, we're all human beings. So, it's just, looking at the truth of it, not the, I make fun of, joke about the big why and the 10X. Well, when's the last time someone told you, I hit my big why? That's that other one. Or I just 10X'd. Very, very few. Don't get caught up in the hype. Here's the hype I want you to get caught up in, okay? As a leader. It all sounds sexy and fun, but you're the one that still has to go home with yourself as a leader at night and wonder why, okay? Wonder why your people aren't productive. Well, you're the leader. True leaders own it, okay? So I want to help you with that one too. No one's inspired by your to-do list, okay? And on a side note, by the way, the number one thing people want to do that work within a company or a team, they want to belong. They want to belong. So take a look at your culture. But you'll hear me say this a lot. See, every big why or, this big 10X stuff that, by the way, overwhelms people. It's built on the back of micro commitments. And just really ingrain this. If you're a leader and you're listening to this or you want to lead people, remember that fact that everything big is built on the back of micro commitments. See, because when you've got something that's so big out there, and I'm not saying don't put something big out there, put it out there, but then look at the steps. See, what I want you to do is make little micro commitments with short deadlines. And then when you keep that micro commitment, that little victory. I went to the gym today. It was important to me to go at 2 a.m. That was my micro commitment last night. I don't know what it's going to be tomorrow. I'll worry about that. But one thing I know is I'm committed. So what did I do? Well, I kept that little commitment and I got myself a victory. And a victory gives me confidence because does my confidence wane? Sure, it's called being a human being. And so I set myself up to have little victories through little micro commitments. And here's the most dangerous thing that can happen in a really good way. If you make micro commitments and you keep them and you get a victory and you get confidence, is you're going to get the most dangerous thing going in your favor, and that thing is called momentum. So go get yourself some momentum. I hope you found this helpful, and if there's anything I can do to help you in the leadership of your team or your real estate company, go check out chetblacklive.com and you can snoop around there. And the nice thing about the site is I'm pretty clear in my communication and how I work with people, and I might not be the right fit, and that's okay. There's always a great fit. There's a lot of great coaches and leaders out there, but if I am, there's an application there. You can fill it out and I'll take a look at it and see if we're a right fit, and maybe you can discover what it's going to take for you to grow and get into that commitment mindset instead of the talent mindset, because commitment wins every day. I'll talk to you soon.